We're standing on the bow of the tall ship Bounty. This particular ship was built in 1960 for the 1962 Marlon Brando movie. The ship was supposed to have been burned in that movie, but Brando said that if you burn the ship, he would not finish the movie. So as a result of that, we have this wonderful ship today that travels pretty much all over meaning last year we were in Europe, the year before that we were out in the Pacific. This year we're headed up onto the Great Lakes, so we travel quite a bit with the ship. The ship is, today we do educational tours, dockside attraction. We probably spend most of our time trying to teach people about square rig sailing. The ship is a movie prop probably first. The ship's been used in quite a few movies. Obviously the very first one was the Marlon Brando Mutiny in the Bounty, but then it was moved in a movie called Yellowbeard, a Monty Python movie. After that it was done Treasure Island with Charlton Heston. Then it's been in Pirates of the Caribbean both 2 and 3. Was the 6 opening minutes of SpongeBob SquarePants. And most recently in a movie that's in IMAX right now called Oceans, and we have a very small segment in the movie Oceans. The original Bounty 200 years ago was made famous because of the mutiny. Most people think that Captain Bligh was a bad guy, was a tyrant. Actually, Bligh was probably considered one of the best captains of his day. It's only been the recent movies that have really made him into the bad guy that we think of him as the general public. Captain Bligh was put into a longboat, 23 feet long, with 19 men, had only 6 inches of freeboard, meaning there was 6 inches between him and sinking, and traveled 3,600 miles and did not lose anybody except for one person when they landed on an island and the local natives stoned one of the sailors to death. But other than that, it was been probably considered the most remarkable survival story of history. The cause of the mutiny, the movies make it out to be that Bligh was the bad guy, that he was a tyrant, that he whipped people, that he beat people, and that's really not true. That was only for the movies. Bligh's biggest fault was probably he was too lenient. He was too good a guy. When they got to Tahiti, the mission was to bring breadfruit back to the West Indies to feed the slave population. But when they got there, the breadfruit had just germinated. And as a result of that, Captain Bligh had to wait 5 months to be able to transplant the breadfruit. Probably any other captain of the day would have made his sailors stay on board the ship, cooped up, cramped up, in poor conditions on board the ship. But Captain Bligh said, no, we'll go live ashore. And while they were ashore, they were in sunny South Pacific with wonderful women. And the sailors all got girlfriends, some even took wives. And when the time came to actually 5 months later to head back to England, sailors got out to sea for a few days, and they decided that the South Pacific was a much better way to live than going back to cold Victorian England. And that's really what the mutiny took place, was over wives and girlfriends and a chance to live in the South Pacific, not because Bligh was the bad guy. I think more proof of the fact that Bligh was the good guy was that on a 3,600-mile voyage with very, very, very little supplies, Bligh would have probably disappeared over the side if he'd been the bad guy that he's made out to be. But anyway, I think the movies have really given Bligh a bad rep, and he was probably considered one of the better sailors, certainly one of the best navigators of his time. The current ship, we do dockside attraction. We travel from festivals. We average probably somewhere between 25 and 30 ports a year, so the ship's pretty much moving. We winter in Florida, but recently we've been doing a lot of filming during the winter time, so we really haven't had a chance to even shut the ship down for the winter time. Last winter we were in West Palm Beach. Before that we've been in St. Petersburg. And then early spring we'll head out and start on our tours. Next year we're going to be going back to Europe again, doing a European tour.
Great. Okay, well, I'm going to keep rolling because I can edit this.
Yeah.
We'll do a segment now about you, and I'll edit that and put it in the beginning. So you can just start, just introduce yourself and how you get to be here.
Okay. Hi, I'm Robin Walbridge. I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida. I've been the captain of the Bounty for about 16 years now, as a full-time captain, and a few years before that as a part-time captain. My background started off probably, I've kind of been involved in the transportation business all my life. I drove truck cross-country for a couple of years. I flew airplanes for a few years. And now I'm doing boats. A question that I'm always...
Bear with me just a second. The mic is rubbing up against your neck. Let me just see if I can get untangled there.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah, that should be.
Okay.
If you don't mind, let's start over, because I don't want to have to edit you once we get started here. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Robin Walbridge, captain of the tall ship Bounty. I've been captain of the Bounty for 16 years full-time, and I have been captain of the Bounty probably for a few years before that as a part-time captain. One of the questions that I'm commonly asked is, how does one become a captain of a ship like this? And in my particular case, I was working on another square rig ship, the Rose, very comparable ship to this, and the captain on that ship was a year younger than I was. So I always felt that if I was to take over a ship, I had to go out and find the ship, and I found out about the Bounty. The Bounty basically was just sitting dockside, was not really sailing, and I went and convinced the owners that they needed to start sailing the boat, and that's kind of how I became a captain. But my life has probably been very involved with transportation. I drove truck cross-country for a couple of years. I flew airplanes for a few years, and now I'm been in the boating industry.
Awesome, great. Now the last little segment will just be how long it is, how much it weighs, how tall the masts are, stuff like that.
Sure. The Bounty is actually, it's a pretty good sized vessel for today's sailing ships. This particular Bounty is not a very good replica of the original Bounty, but it is an extremely good replica of a 6th-rate frigate of the time. So it's just a very good replica of a ship of 200 years ago, just not the original Bounty. MGM says that they sent away and got the plans, the drawings for the original Bounty. I believe that they probably did, but they never followed them, and they built the Hollywood version of the ship. And when I say Hollywood version, one of the questions that's always asked, is the ship well constructed? Because it's only a movie prop. Why would they construct it very well? The answer to that is that they had to get the ship to Tahiti, they had to sail the ship, they had to do it. And so as a result of that, they did have to build a ship, and it's a very, very well-built ship. The ship today is 180 feet long. The original Bounty was only 97 feet. So it's about almost twice as big as the original Bounty. The ship's 115 feet tall. Displaces somewhere around 500 tons. It's 180 feet overall length. The beam or the width of the ship is 32 feet.
Great. Awesome. I think we covered it.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your patience.
Oh, absolutely. I like
and
doing
I'd like
this.
to get a card before the weekend's out.
Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. When I put out to sea, when I put out to sea, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea.